narrow gauge. Percy is very fond of the wildlife park on the island of Sodor. He likes all the animals, but his favourites are the giraffes, Gerald and Sally. Percy brought them to the wildlife park himself. He also helps to recapture an escaped lion once. Percy's best friend there, however, is the park manager himself. The park manager is fond of Percy too. Whenever Percy brings children and the other visitors to the park, he will stop for a friendly chat with the park manager. The park manager wants to build a railway in the park. Then all the children would be able to travel about the park more easily to see the different animals. The park manager promised Percy that if ever he does manage to build his railway, Percy will be the engine to work it. Percy would like that very much. One day when Percy came to the wildlife park station, he noticed a rather unusual passenger getting off his carriage. The park manager was there to meet him. Later that afternoon, when Percy was passing, he noticed the man in the park looking into something on a tripod. "I wonder what he's up to," said Percy. "He looks like a surveyor to me," said his driver. "The park manager must be planning something." It was the next week before Percy learned what was going on. One day he met the park manager holding something rolled up in his hand. He was very excited. "These are the plans," he told Percy. "It's finally happening. I'm going to build my railway," the park manager told him, "and you shall be my engine," whistled Percy happily. He could hardly wait. It was like a dream come true for Percy. He would be able to see all the animals and learn all about them. But the park railway wasn't built yet. Soon Henry came to pull a heavy goods train. He was delivering the rails and sleepers for the park railway. The men set to work clearing the route and began to lay the track. When Percy came by the station, the park manager invited his driver to come and have a look. "Oh no," said Percy's driver. "Percy can't run on that." "Why not?" asked the park manager. "His wheelbase is too wide," the driver said. "That track is narrow gauge." They were all disappointed, but none more so than poor old Percy. Tee up. Bob and Dave are signalmen. They work in the signal box at a big junction on the Fat Controller's railway. They change the points and the signals to make sure all the engines will run on the right rails. The signal box is high up on stilts. To get to the front door, you have to climb up a ladder. This is so Bob and Dave can see all the trains as they come and go. There are lots of big switches and levers in the signal box for controlling the signals. There is a special telephone for talking to the Fat Controller too. And in the corner stands a little cooker with an old kettle on top of it for making tea. One day Bob came in with a shiny new kettle. "Hello, Bob," said Dave. "What have you got there?" "It's a brand new kettle," said Bob. "That other one is very old, and look, this one even has a whistle on it." "That's great," said Dave. "Give it over here and I'll put it on." Dave took the kettle and he filled it up with water. Then he put it on the stove. Just then Thomas was coming, so Dave had to rush back and switch the signals. A few minutes later he heard a whistle. "To you, Bob," he said, and went to switch the kettle off. "Don't be daft," said Bob. "That was only Henry coming through the junction." "Oh," said Dave. He sat down again. "Tee up," called Dave again. Then he looked out of the window. It was Gordon with the express hurrying through the junction. Dave sat down again and waited. That kettle sounds like James, you know, said Dave. That's because that is James, said Bob, pulling the lever to change the points. You know, Bob, said Dave, I don't think much of that new kettle of yours. It's certainly taken an awful long time to boil. Bob went over to have a look. I'm not surprised, said Bob. You forgot to switch the cooker on. Bob switched the cooker on and lit the gas. In a few minutes, there came a cheery sound. Tea up? Asked Dave. Tea up, agreed Bob. A change of plans. Percy was very sad indeed when he learned that the park manager had begun to lay narrow gauge track in the wildlife park. He wasn't built for narrow gauge. I've no chance of working in the park, moaned Percy. The park manager never even wanted me there anyhow. I'll bet he planned the whole thing. Now, Percy, scolded his driver. I don't think that's the case at all. The park manager was surprised and very disappointed when he realised about it. But Percy wasn't having any of it. He was in such a mood that he wouldn't even reach the park manager at his station. The park manager climbed into his coach. He was on his way to the main station to see the Fat Controller, but Percy never let him explain. Percy did notice him going into the Fat Controller's office. He's probably inquiring about hiring some slippy little narrow-gauge engine to do the job that's rightfully mine, howled Percy, as he left for the harbour. You shouldn't judge him so harshly, said Percy's driver. He made a mistake, that's all. Humph, groaned Percy. A likely story. He gave some trucks a bump. A few days later, Percy was passing the wildlife park again. He was still so cross he couldn't enjoy seeing the animals, not even his two favourite giraffes. When Percy stopped at the station, he heard the sound of the men working on the track. The park manager came over. Percy didn't want to know. Hello, said Percy's driver. How is it going? Very well now, said the park manager. With help from the Fat Controller, I've made some changes. Yes, I'll bet, puffed Percy. You've had to find a poky little narrow-gauge engine. Oh no, said the park manager, not at all. I've arranged for the track to be relayed to accommodate your wider wheelbase. We were lucky that your driver spotted it so soon. I still want you to be my engine. You do? asked Percy. Of course I do, said the park manager. Percy felt sorry for having doubted his friend. At last, the new track was completed. The park manager held a special opening ceremony, and Percy was the first engine to run in the park. The Fat Controller let Percy work there every weekend. Percy was very happy indeed.